She couldn't sleep. It was 3 in the morning. She'd been crying for hours alone in the house, wishing she could feel his arms around her one more time. So she got up, walked into the bathroom, and what she found there stopped her cold. Pause 1 second. This is the story NASCAR hasn't been able to stop talking about. And by the end of this video, I promise you, you will feel it too. What is UP, everyone? Welcome back to Sportswire USA. Today we are going deep on Kyle Busch. And I'm warning you right now, this is not a normal NASCAR video. This one has a viral sign that nobody can explain, a courtroom bombshell, the United States Senate getting involved, Tony Stewart saying something that is going to make half of you furious, and the other half say he's absolutely right. We're covering all of it today, so do not touch that skip button, because the story gets bigger every single segment. Let's go. Before we get into the signs, the estate, the Senate, let's remember who we're talking about. Kyle Busch wasn't just a NASCAR driver, he was the NASCAR driver. He was the NASCAR driver. 63 Cup Series wins, 2 championships, 2015 and 2019 102 Xfinity wins, 69 Truck Series wins, 34 total victories across all 3 NASCAR National Series. No one, and I mean no one, has ever done what Kyle Busch did in this sport. And on May 21st, 2026, at just 41 years old, he was gone. Severe pneumonia turned into sepsis. He collapsed during a simulator session. He never made it to the Coca-Cola 600. He left behind his wife Samantha, his 11-year-old son Brexton, his 4-year-old daughter Lennox, and an entire sport that didn't fully appreciate him until he was no longer here. Now, let's talk about what happened next. June 16th, 3 weeks after Kyle passed, Samantha Busch posted something on Instagram that broke the internet. She started with this. After Brexton's birthday party, just days before Kyle died, he had kicked off his sandals in their bathroom, left them right there on the floor. And after he passed, Samantha couldn't bring herself to move them. Those sandals sat there exactly where Kyle left them for weeks. Now, one night, about a week after his death, Samantha said it was one of the hardest nights she'd had yet. She couldn't sleep. She spent most of the night sobbing, wishing she could feel Kyle next to her one more time. Finally, she gave up on sleeping, got up, walked into the bathroom, and there, shining directly across Kyle's sandals, was a rainbow. Not anywhere else in the room, not on the walls, not on the floor, just right across his sandals. She literally lay down on the floor next to them. And for the first time in weeks, she felt peace. Now, Samantha is not someone who just ignores reality. She actually said in her post, she knows exactly how that rainbow happened scientifically. Sunlight came through the bathroom chandelier and hit the floor. But here's the thing, they had lived in that house for over 10 years. She had been awake at every hour, every season, every kind of weather, and she had never, not once, seen a rainbow appear there. Never. Until the night she was lying on the floor crying for her husband. She posted the photo. And NASCAR fans have not stopped talking about it since. You believe what you believe, but I dare you to look at that photo, knowing what she was going through that night, and feel nothing. But wait, because it didn't stop there, Samantha shared a second sign, and this one might actually be harder to explain. A few days after the sandals, Samantha went to church. Now this is the same church where Kyle's private memorial service was held on June 2nd. She was sitting in that same building, carrying a grief she said still didn't feel real most days. And then, out of nowhere, a bird appeared inside the church. It was flying around during the entire service, which, Samantha pointed out, had never happened in that church before, not once, in all the years she had been attending. Then the bird flew directly toward her. It tilted its head sideways, looked right at her, and flew away. She turned to her friend sitting next to her and said, "Am I hallucinating? I haven't been sleeping." She wasn't hallucinating, because later, while the whole congregation had their heads bowed in prayer, she heard a noise. She opened her eyes, and the bird was right there at her feet, chirping, hopping around, like it was trying to tell her something. Standing in the same church where she said goodbye to Kyle just days earlier, she wrote this, "It feels like God is reminding me that I am not alone, and that Kyle is letting me know that he's okay, that he's close, and that somehow he's still walking beside us." I've read a lot of NASCAR stories in my life. That one hit different. Now, here's where the story turns from heartbreaking to something that will actually give you hope. Because Samantha Busch is not sitting still. She is keeping a promise. In the hospital, in Kyle's final hours, she made him a vow that she would do everything in her power to help their children chase their dreams, no matter what. For Brexton, that dream is racing. And less than a month after losing his dad, Brexton was back at the track. Samantha said watching him is both heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time, because there are moments when she catches a glimpse of Kyle in him. The same determination, the same passion, the same spark. And for just a second, she says it feels like a piece of Kyle is still right there with them. And for little Lennox, who just turned 4, they bought her a go-kart. Kyle Busch's daughter already has her first kart. You can't make this stuff up. Samantha said it perfectly. We race on. 2 words, everything you need to know about this family. Okay, now let's talk about money, because this has been all over NASCAR news. Court documents were filed in North Carolina, and for the first time, we got a real look at what Kyle Busch left behind for his family. Kyle's will directs that all of his personal property goes to Samantha. His clothing, his jewelry, everything. A man named Clifton Holmesley has been named as executor of the estate to manage everything legally, and the document also confirmed no wrongful death lawsuit is being filed, none. Now, some tabloids try to make this into a scandal. NASCAR fans absolutely dragged them for it because there is no scandal here. A husband took care of his wife and kids. That is the story. And the numbers? They are significant. Kyle sold his Truck Series operation, Kyle Busch Motorsports, to Spire Motorsports back in 2023 for a reported $25 million. Earlier this year, he and Samantha won an $5 million settlement against a life insurance company over policies they said were misrepresented. Kyle Busch built an empire, and he made sure his family was protected. Champion on the track, provider off it. That is the full picture of this man. Now, I need you to stop for a second, because this next thing is huge, and it is not getting the attention it deserves. The United States Senate officially honored Kyle Busch. On June 18th, Senators Ted Budd and Tom Tillis from North Carolina and Senators Catherine Cortez Masto and Jackie Rosen from Nevada passed a bipartisan resolution honoring Kyle's life and legacy, Republicans and Democrats, together for a NASCAR driver. Think about that. The resolution laid out exactly who Kyle was. 19 consecutive seasons with at least one NASCAR Cup Series win from 2005 all the way through 2023. The longest streak in the history of the sport. 24 total wins across all 3 series, more than any driver ever. The Senate also specifically called out Kyle's role as a father mentoring Brexton, building something for the next generation. And now this resolution heads to the House of Representatives. This isn't just NASCAR news anymore. This is American history. Kyle Busch, the kid from Las Vegas who everyone loved to hate, just got honored by the entire United States Senate. Rowdy Nation, how does that feel? And finally, I want to end with Tony Stewart, because Tony said something that nobody else had the guts to say. After Kyle died, as the tributes poured in from all over, Tony went on record and called out the fans. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the people now rushing to celebrate Kyle are the same ones who never gave him a fair chance while he was alive, that they booed him, that they dismissed him, that they never took the time to understand who he really was. And now that he's gone, suddenly everyone cares. Tony said they're, quote, not nice people for not appreciating Kyle when it mattered. And honestly, he's right. Kyle Busch spent 20 plus years being called cocky, being booed at tracks, being the villain of NASCAR. And yeah, he leaned into it. That was rowdy. But the dad who spent hours in the garage with Brexton, the husband who made sure his wife would be okay, the guy who mentored dozens of young drivers through his truck team, people didn't want to see that version. It was easier to boo. Tony Stewart saw it all along, and he wasn't going to let the moment pass without saying it. Good. So let's recap what we just covered. A rainbow over a pair of sandals on a bathroom floor. A bird in a church that had never seen a bird before. A son back on the racetrack carrying his father's dream. A wife keeping a deathbed promise. An estate that shows exactly how Kyle protected his family. A United States Senate resolution. And Tony Stewart telling the truth that needed to be told. That is the story of Kyle Busch right now. He's gone, but man, he is everywhere. If this video meant something to you, smash that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it helps this channel more than you know. Subscribe to Sportswire USA. We cover NASCAR like nobody else does. and drop one word in the comments right now, just one word, that describes what Kyle Busch meant to you. I'll be reading every single one. I'll see you in the next one. We race on.